Hello, today we are going to install FreeBSD 13.1 and we're going to install the XFCE desktop, and then we're going to install an RDP server, so remote desktop protocol server, in this case xrdp and xorgxrdp. So first of all, we go to the FreeBSD 13.1 release pages, and we're going to download the installation ISO. Okay. There are no pre-built packages. We're going to go with disk one. Control F, disk one. So AMD64 disk1.iso, and this is the compressed version. Okay. Where do we download that thing? Save. Okay. So while it's downloading, it's 700 megabytes compressed with XZ, and uncompressed it's 1 gigabyte. It finished downloading. Okay. Work this thing. It's an XZ. How do we un-XZ? Okay. Let's create a Virt Manager virtual machine. New virtual machine, local install media, ISO. Let's find where this thing is. FreeBSD 13.1 release AMD64 disk1.iso, choose volume. Selected the correct operating system 13.1. Forward. Let's go with 10 gigabytes and 14 CPUs. Let's make this thing 100 gigabytes. FreeBSD 131. Customize configuration before install. Finish. I want to start. KVM x86-64. The best motherboard. BIOS. Apply. CPUs are always wrong. 14. Apply. Memory 10 gigabytes. Virt.io disk. Great, that it supports Virt.io. ID CD-ROM, can't we make this thing SATA? Okay. NIC Virt.io, great. Tablet, display, spice, and the rest are just defaults. Okay, begin installation. Boot multi-user, enter, boot single user, escape to load, reboot, cons video. So it will select the first option, which is the best one. Now let's see, how do we install this thing? For that we'll need the installation instructions or the manual. Where were we? No. 13.1 book. Okay, so this is the FreeBSD handbook in multi-HTML pages format. Let's go next through it. How do I go next? Next. Okay. Organization of this book. So there's an introduction and then installing. Getting started. Introduction. About FreeBSD installing. So I did not download a virtual machine disk image. I downloaded an ISO. Pre-installation tasks, backup important data. I'm creating a virtual machine from scratch. I'm going to try to use MBR, not GPT. Network information DHCP, yes, it's Word Manager. So disk 1 contains all of the needed media and the ports collection. Okay. Whereas this contains a set of popular binary packages. I'm not sure if this thing is for me this time. Okay, I've downloaded. I did not check the checksum. I don't need to write to an USB. Starting the installation. Boot menu. I've let the default option be selected, which is boot multi-user. Okay, so we should be here. Let's put the documentation on the right half of the screen and the work in the left half of the screen. Okay, like this. So it says, welcome to FreeBSD. Would you like to install? Yes. The system console driver defaults to standard US. Continue with the default key map. Please choose a hostname for this machine. FreeBSD 13.1. Choose optional components to install. Not this. Ports 3. Base DBG, kernel DBG, lib DBG, lib32, ports SRC tests. This should be it. Okay, I do not want ZFS. I want whatever is the equivalent of ext4 in Linux, which I'm guessing is UFS. Entire disk. MBR, not GPT. So those partitions, not GUID partition table. It creates a slash and a swap. Okay. Looks okay. Your changes will now be written to disk. Okay, it extracts base.exe which is the base binaries and kernel binaries, kernel.txz. Please select a password for the system management account for the root account. Please select a network interface. Would you like to configure IPv4? Would you like to use DHCP? Press yes. I press enter to select the default option. Would you like to use IPv6? I never have ever used IPv6 nowhere, so no. Okay. One DNS, resolver configuration. I don't know what this thing is. Okay. Select a region. Okay. And then country. Like this. Easternmost areas. EST. Skip. Set time skip. Choose the services you want to be started at boot. SSHD, yes, of course. NTP no. Power D. Kernel crash, dumps, locker, unbound, caching, validating, resolver. It looks okay. Choose security hardening options. Hide, read, proc. Random, clear TMP, syslogd, send mail. Yes, we could do that. Enable console password prompt. ESLR. Okay. Would you like to add users? Yes, thank you. Administrator. Login group administrator. Yes. Invite to other groups. Yes, I don't know which. Like this. Let's see. Yes, we were here. No GPT. No manual. No root on ZFS. Okay, it's extracting TXZ files. New password for the root account. Network interface card. No Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. IPv4, DHCP, DNS, no IPv6. Stateless address auto configuration. Once the interface is configured, select a mirror site that is located in the same region. I did not get here. Time zone, I did that. Time, daytime, SSHD, users. Yes, so it indeed adds the default user, the one that was created after the root user. So the root user already existed, the first user that it's being created by the FreeBSD installer. In this screenshot, we can see that it's being added to the wheel user group, which probably has something to do with sudo or an equivalent. Okay, so that's what I wanted to. Login class default, shell, I don't know, what should we use? /home/administrator correct. Password based authentication. Empty password, no. Random, no. Password. Password. Okay, yes. Enter. Add another user, no. Okay, so what else can we do? Exit, add user, root password, hostname, network services, system hardening, time zone, handbook. Okay, the next one would be exit. So we're waiting for BSD install, the FreeBSD installer, to prompt that I need to reboot the machine. It does things, hopefully. Okay, I'll pause this for a second, and if it refuses to reboot, I'll reboot the virtual machine. Okay, so the installer has done things, and now we're at the next step, which says the installation is now finished. Would you like to open a shell? Okay, installation complete. Would you like to reboot? Reboot. You can look at the messages that appear during boot with scroll lock, then page up, page down. When you finished, scroll lock again. Less of /var/run/dmsg .boot. Press Q to return. Okay, so it says generating RSA host key. If possible, we should not use Word Manager, so the virtualization software, at all. So let's try to connect using the SSH client from a standard terminal. SSH administrator, so the username, and then let's look at the IP address. This thing says, are you sure this is the correct machine? Yes. Password. Okay, a huge DMSG. Welcome to FreeBSD release notes, errata, security advisories, handbook, FAQ, forums, /usr/local/share/doc/FreeBSD, package install and FreeBSD doc, man hierarchy, uname -a, FreeBSD version, MOTD, okay. So the next would be to enable the binary package installer and to start installing things. So FreeBSD does not install a graphical environment by default. Refer to the X Windows system for more information. So we'll totally do that. Let's copy this thing if we can. Proper shutdown of a FreeBSD computer helps protect. Do not turn off the power before the system has been properly shut down. If the user is a member of the wheel group, become superuser by typing SU. Okay. Entering the root password. Then type shutdown -p now. And the system will shut down cleanly if the hardware supports it. Okay. Troubleshooting. No problems with a CPI on Word Manager. I'm not using the live CD. I don't need virtual consoles, no terminals. Alt F1, Alt F8. Nope, I'm not using the virtual console at all. I'm just connecting using an SSH client and that's it. Single user mode, I never needed single user mode. Changing console video modes, again no need for this thing. Users and basic account management. System accounts, user accounts and super user account. System accounts are used to run services such as DNS, mail and web servers. Daemon, operator, bind, news, www. Nobody, unprivileged system account. And then user accounts. I added a user account. The home is in /home/administrator. Super user account root. SU to become super user. SU with a minus to specify to also inherit roots in root user's environment. The user administrator is member of the wheel group. I don't want to create another user account. I don't want to remove a user account. Change user password with PASSWD. No user groups. Permissions. This is the chmod. So this thing the chmod and this thing is the chown. Change mode. Okay. Go. Group owner and then O. Okay, I did not use this syntax yet. Flags. I don't know what this thing is. Set UID, GID sticky. I did not use such a thing yet. Okay, directory structure, very similar to the directory structure in Linux. There's a man here for that thing. /bin /boot /dev /etc /lib /libexec /mediaset /mnt /proc /root /sbin /tmp /usr. So /usr is for the base, the FreeBSD base, whereas /usr/local is used as the default destination for the ports framework. So inside of /usr/local, similar directory structure should exist, similar to the /usr directory. /usr/local/etc mimics /etc. Okay, /usr/ports, the FreeBSD ports collection. Okay, and /usr/src FreeBSD source code for base kernel. Okay, next. So this /usr/local important. File systems /directories files relative paths, absolute paths, tilde is a shortcut for /home/administrator. I only have 2 disk partitions, one for /, one for the swap. fs-tab file, mount, -a to mount everything, without parameters to show what's mounted. So devfs and /. Viewing processes, I always view them with ps space aux, and then I grep for what I want. There's stop. This thing, there's stop. Go to exit. Okay, there's more and less. So they have the exact same size, more and less. Okay, healing processes, kill all, -9. Shells, in the ports collection there's a bash. Okay. So let's get to installing packages, then we can install Emacs NoX. Redirect, less than, greater than, greater than, greater than. Vertical bar. Manual pages. GNU info facts. Okay, installing applications, packages, and ports. Besides FreeBSD base and kernel, there's also a rich collection of system. Okay, there's a rich collection of system tools as part of the base system. And additionally, there's the FreeBSD ports collection for installing from source, and packages for installing from pre-built binaries. We're going to prefer packages for installing from pre-built binaries. Okay. A port is a collection of files designed to automate the process of compiling an application from source code. The files that comprise a port contain all the necessary information to automatically download, extract, patch, compile, and install the application. Okay, over 36,000 third-party applications have already been ported to FreeBSD. When feasible, these applications are made available for download as precompiled packages. Okay, packages can be manipulated with a FreeBSD package management command. Both packages and ports understand dependencies. If a package or port is used to install an application and the dependent library is not already installed, the library will automatically be installed first. The FreeBSD package contains precompiled copies of all of the commands for an application, as well as any configuration files and documentation. A package will be manipulated with a pkg command. Okay, pkg, this thing. Such as pkg install. Packages do not require compilation time. For large applications such as XFCE, this can be important. Okay. Finding software, fresh ports, ports portal, GitHub, SourceForge, pkg. Okay. Getting started with pkg. All supported versions of FreeBSD now contain /usr/sbin/pkg. Yes, that's it. It's in base. A small placeholder that has just the minimum functionality required to install the real pkg. Okay, let's do that. pkg, which is the bootstrapper of pkg. The package management tool is not yet installed. Do you want to install and fetch it now? Yes. So it says that I'm not a super user, right? So minus pkg. Yes. Okay, there's pkg help. Okay, the quarterly and latest ports branch. The quarterly branch provides users with a more predictable and stable experience for port and package installation and upgrades. This is done essentially by only allowing non-free updates. To switch from quarterly to latest, run this command. Okay, let's not do this. Let's see if we have the latest metadata. /usr/local/etc/package.conf. Okay, let's search for packages. pkg search mc. So there's mc, no x11. Let's do that. Package install mc, no x11. Yes. Okay, and then we have the messages. So says lib6egv Stack Overflow handling functions of this library need procfs mounting./proc. We probably need to do that. Standard Python modules are provided as separate ports as they require additional dependencies. No tkinter. The Midnight Commander subshell support does not work with the Bourne shell. Use a more advanced interactive shell. So let's do that. I guess that the name of the package is bash. Okay. How do we change shell? Changing the shell. So I'm still root and I'll need to change the shell of root. Let's see if it's in /shells. Yeah, it's in here. So /usr/local/bin/bash. Okay, Control D to exit. Let's do this for my non-root user. Okay, I need to exit. Reconnect via SSH. Is the prompt different now? Yes, it's with parentheses, whereas this one was not. Okay, PS3, no. So there's a bash in here. Okay, where were we? Text editors, yes, let's do that. So minus password of the user root, package search emacs minus no x11. Okay, package install emacs minus no x. Yes. Okay, so now for the command line usage, we have an SSH server, we have bash, we have Midnight Commander, and we have a text editor, Emacs. So this allows me to survive at the command line. FreeBSD does not warrant that the certification authorities have in any way been audited. This package installs symlinks to support root certificate discovery by default for software that uses OpenSSL. Enables SSL certificate validation by client software without manual intervention. If you prefer to do this manually, I don't prefer to do anything manually. Okay, next. So the command line usage and installation and configuration, everything is done. It's time to install the graphical user interface GUI. Okay, the X Windows system. package install xorg. Let's do that. Y. Can be installed as a port, as a package. Binary meta package can be installed quickly, but with fewer options for customization. So I only see it installing X things. Mesa, font, xorg, X libraries, Python 39, Rotary compression, LLVM, or Mesa probably, xorg docs, twm, the minimalist window manager, drm, Wayland, Lua the scripting language, ZST decompression, X toolkit, free type, fonts, deja vu, a ton of messages from packages. Okay, Wayland requires XDG runtime dir. I will not use Wayland. FreeBSD, subpixel hinting mode. Okay, what else? I don't want PCF. Xorg server has been installed. It's recommended to enable evdev mode. I don't know what this thing is. PS2 devices. Run the following. So I want to do this thing. Okay. Am I using a serial mouse? No. Any other mouse that only works over sysmouse or mouse D. Deja vu. Make sure that the FreeType module is loaded. The modules section of your X Windows configuration file. Hopefully we don't need to do that. Xterm. Wide charge support. UTF-8. I'm using UTF-8, hopefully. Okay. So I have an X server. I have TWM. I probably have Xterm. The current user must be a member of the video group. Let's do that. PW group mod video -m username. Not username, but administrator. So minus So it has a hash mark, which means it needs to be run as super user. That's what I'm not getting right. Okay. P, Ctrl Shift V. Administrator. Graphics card drivers. We're not going to use these. No. Okay. No Intel, no AMD, no Nvidia, no XOR configuration, no video cards. No monitors. Fonts. Make font scale. Not sure what this thing is. No Wayland. No Wayfire. No Hikari. What is this? No Sway. No X Wayland. No desktop using VNC on Wayland. Desktop environments. Okay. How to install and configure some popular desktop environments on FreeBSD system. So for XFCE, that's x11-vm/xfce. Package install XFCE. So this is the name of the port. So let's try to do this. Package install XFCE. XFCE meta package. Installs AppFinder, conf, desktop, panel, session, window manager, etc. Yes. XFCE requires /proc to be mounted, which we have in our to-do list. So we say that Stack Overflow needs procfs mounted on /proc. Okay, so let's read the messages. Ton of messages. libxkb common ~/.profile. The arrow keys don't work under X11. Switch to legacy rules. libsup ntlm, nope. gtop file system read write monitor set. Okay, let's copy this thing. Copy. Control V. Cyrus Cecil DB2 authentication. Send mail. Gamin. Reduce polling frequency to once per 10 seconds in order to lower CPU load for UFS. Okay. libinotify, kern max files, open LDAP, EXO. I know. Samba. I'm not using Samba. ls off, list open files. Poudriere jails. XFCE for Tumblr. XDG Tumblr. Cover plugin, I don't know what that thing is. XFCE for session. To be able to shut down or reboot your system. Installs a startup file for X screensaver, disabled by default. Terminal. To reduce the height of tabs, MISC Slim Tabs option. Color cursor use default. Okay. Let me reboot and... No, not reboot. We're not done with installing XFCE. So we need to do this thing. So /proc. Isn't there a simple command line to just edit /etc/fstab? Apparently no. So emacs /etc fstab at the end. Copy, paste. So /proc /proc procfs read write 00. Control access XC. XFCE uses dbus daemon. This application is automatically installed as a dependency of XFCE. Enable dbus in rc.conf. So this thing edits the rc.conf. So cat rc.conf. So it has send mail enable none, sshd enable yes, if config dhcp hostname. Okay, and we'll need to edit this. So it has added at the end of /etc/rc.conf dbus _enable equals yes. Okay. X11 LightDM is a display manager that supports different display technologies, and it's a good choice as it's very lightweight, requires little memory usage, and has fast performance. Okay, let's do this. Package install LightDM GTK Gritter. Account service. Okay, and the message says, for LightDM to function, it requires one of the available gritters to be installed, which I did, so LightDM GTK Gritter. If we enable the lock memory option in lightdm.conf, to security concerns, you will also need to increase the maximum amount of memory FreeBSD will allow daemon to lock into main memory using mlock. Okay. Let's add a new line to /etc/rc.conf. lightdm underscore enabled equals yes. Or we could start it from startx. Okay, let's reboot and see. So we're looking at the virtualization software, the virtual machine software, which acts as the physical monitor, physical keyboard, and physical mouse of the machine. Okay, so this is the lightdm GTK greeter. What's this user thing? How do I use the mouse? At least we know that XFCE works. It was configured correctly. It has a desktop background, has icons on desktop. We don't have a working mouse. Okay, so I'll restart this virtual machine in order to not be logged into X, and then I'll try to install xrdp and xorgxrdp, then I'll configure this RDP server, so remote desktop protocol server. Remote desktop protocol, the Microsoft protocol for connecting remotely to graphical user interface, machines, sessions, shells. Remote desktop connection, terminal services client. Okay. How do we do that? Let's reboot. Okay. Let's see how we install xorgxrdp on FreeBSD. So xrdp is available in the ports, so will be available as a binary package. It's xrdp. Okay, and its sibling, which is xorgxrdp. Okay, so the virtual machine is running, is waiting in lightdm. Let's connect to it. Become super user. Root user's password. Package install xrdp. xorgxrdp. So there's two different packages. There's xrdp and xorgxrdp plus some dependencies. I say yes. 7 megabytes will be downloaded. Okay, let's read the messages. So there's an RSA private public pair key in /s/local/etc/xrdp RSA keys.ini key.pem pulse audio OSS driver okay set sync lib id3 tag okay imlib2 xrdp has been installed. There's an rc.d script, so the service can be enabled by adding this line. Okay, so xrdp enable, yes, and xrdp sysman enable, yes. I do want to do that. So does echo work? I'm not sure. Let's copy this. emacs/etc/rc.conf. Go at the end. Ctrl+Shift+V. Trailing new line. Ctrl+X+S. Ctrl+X+C. Okay. What else? I lost the messages. Then reboot your machine and then configure your window manager. Okay, let's reboot. Okay. Probably the mouse does not work in Vert Manager because of tablet. So I should remove the virtual input device EV Touch USB graphics tablet and add a mouse instead or something. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just use the RDP server and RDP client and ignore the xorg configuration and actual mouse and actual display and actual GPU and actual keyboard and go straight for RDP ones. Okay, let's open a new console and let's connect to this machine using xrdp. So for that I'm using the RDP client xfreerdp. Let's prepare a command line for this thing. So I want such a thing. I did mount /proc. I did install an X Windows system. Okay, so xfreerdp, this is the username. I'm not going to give it password via command line. I'm going, so my current resolution is 1080p. So that's 1920 by 1080. So I want the width to be the height to be 1080, but I need to leave a bit of space for the title bar, so 1020. And width, I wanted to use half of the screen, such that I don't need to install a web browser inside of FreeBSD. I can use the web browser on my host machine. So that's 1920 divided by 2. That's 960. Okay. What else do we want? We want drives. No. Clipboard redirection is default enabled. We don't want. Do we want video? Let's see if we want video. Paste. Sound listing. Okay. Smart card drive home. What else? Video with. We did username. We did sound. Let's do RFX. Password, we will just give the password at standard input. Speed, we want the best speed possible. Okay, what else? We did GFX. No, we did not do that. Let's do that. Okay, what else? Float bar. Dynamic resolution, let's do that. No drives. Codec cache is by default, if I remember correctly. Compression is by default. Clipboard is enabled by default. Okay, certificate. This is the last thing that we're going to configure. The best quality for images, so that's 32 bits per pixel. That's alpha and then RGB, red, green, blue. 1 byte, 8 bits each. Okay, and that's it. Ctrl+Shift+V, and let's see what happens. I went with the wrong IP address, so let's get the IP address. Ctrl+V, Ctrl+C, Ctrl+Shift+V. Says, do I trust connecting to this machine I did not connect before? I go yes, uppercase Y and then enter. It pre-populates the username, asks for a password, and then it gives me a what's that, console xterm, and not much, not even a window manager. I cannot even resize the window. Okay, but I have bash inside, and I might be able to start XFCE from here. Let's see if that actually works. Where is the book? So it says that by running this thing, I might be able to start XFCE. What does this thing do? Next /usr local sc xdg xfce xinit rc. xdg menu prefix desktop session current session .config user dirs update. Oh, a ton of things. And then exec xfce session. Can we solve this thing? Exactly what it says there. /. Do we have copy paste? Let's see. I don't know how to paste. usr local sc xdg xfce xinit rc. Okay, as long as I don't close the console, this xterm, I should be fine. So applications, settings, web browser. Please choose your preferred web browser. There's no web browser yet. Cancel. Okay. No web browser yet. Let's install a web browser. Resources heavy Firefox. So application. Where do I start the terminal? This thing. Okay. So minus. Let's see if copy paste works. Potentially unsafe paste. Pasting this text may be dangerous. No. Paste. Control. What's this? Control U. Copy and paste. So copy paste works already. We connected it using connected using the RDP server. The mouse works correctly. It exits correctly. I don't need to ungrab it, Control Alt G or something. So it exits correctly the window. It enters correctly the window. The window has the correct size, which I wanted, which is half of the screen. If I resize the window, the resolution of the FreeBSD computer changes. So, okay, so this was by changing the window of xfreerdp. It's going to change the resolution of the xorg inside the FreeBSD. Copy paste of text works. What else do we need to prove that RDP is the future for FreeBSD and virtual machines? Proceed with this action, yes. Okay, a ton of messages. SMB, SFTP, Gamepad API, audio backend. About support. About config media QB backend. Microphone OSS pulse rust. Encrypted media extensions requires wide vine CDM binary. Process sandboxing capsicum backend. Reduced memory usage requires Moz chmod. Crash report requires Google breakpad. WebVR requires open source runtime. TCP fast open about networking. GIMP JXL plugin. What is that? libjxl. RGP standalone port. lib unibreak. Okay, it looks okay. Let's now start the web browser. Let's configure the web browser. No this, no that, no that, no this. Toolbars, never show, done, settings, tab, always blank page, and download. Always ask. Okay, how do we start an incognito one? I'm not sure. Set as default browser. Yes. Open private window and let's see how well YouTube works.
Where are we?
Okay, what's this? Skip ads.
How to create a...
So sound works, playback works, YouTube works. What do we want more from a virtual machine? Okay, the last remaining thing to do is that we have, this time we've started connecting using xfreerdp, and we've that has just started a external console and nothing else, not even a window manager from there. We needed to start XFCE by sourcing the configuration file. The next step is to have that thing happen automatically, so you don't need to go //usr/etc/xdg, etc. each time you connect. Okay, so this line, you don't want to run this line each time you connect using an RDP server. And if we just disconnect, when we connect back, it offers the existing X session. So I don't lose anything, any work, if I just close the RDP client and I do not close the virtual machine. Another advantage of the RDP server, RDP client. Okay, just closing the RDP client does not close the xorg session. Okay. So in order to edit the configuration file for the xrdp server, I need to actually log out from the X server. Okay. Now if I want to connect back, it creates a new xorg server and it reads the configuration file again, the configuration file says just put a black root window background and start a console xterm, which whenever I close, Ctrl D, closes the X server. Okay, so I'll look at what configuration file needs to be edited and how, such that this ./usr local xcg xfce xinit rc happens automatically. Just a second. Okay, so I have finally configured everything. So again, I have installed FreeBSD latest. I have installed the X server and XFCE. So that meaning this chapter, this, and then this. And for starting XFCE, to make sure that it works, I actually installed LightDM and enabled LightDM. And then I have installed xrdp, which is package install xrdp xorgxrdp. Then the message that I received after installing the package says that I should edit /s/rc.conf and append these two lines, which I did. Then I don't like the X server X session that xrdp starts by default. So we can look at that session. It's configured in USR rc, USR local rc xrdp, and it's called startwm. So this is the default session that is configured for xrdp and xorgxrdp for FreeBSD, which means it just executes an xterm, nothing else. And it says that if I want to start something else than xterm, then I need to uncomment one of these lines and comment out the exec xterm line. Or this script is an example. I might have different configuration files for each user. So if in my home directory there's a file named startwm from window manager.sh, so startwm.sh, if it exists and it's executable, then the contents of that file will be preferred. If the file ~startwm.sh does not exist, then the content of this file will be executed, which is /usr/local/etc/xrdp/startwm.sh. And what I did, I left the file unmodified, the file in /usr/local/etc/xrdp/startvm.sh, but instead I created a local file. So in my home directory, I created a file named startwm.sh. The content I knew, what content I want is this content. And then I made the file executable. Ctrl+C, ls-la. So in my home directory, there's a file that's called startwm.sh, and that's chmod +x, so it's executable by all users and all groups, and writable just by my own user. Okay, and the content of the file is just this source line. So // means source, .space means source, and then the configuration file /usr/local/etc/xdg/xfce4/xinit_rc, and then I put a trailing new line. Okay, let's reboot and see how the whole thing looks like. Okay, so this is my virtual machine. The configuration is pretty stock. I'm using VirtIO for network interface card and for hard disk. I gave it as much memory and CPU as I could. You can turn this down very much. You can give it, I don't know, depends if you're going to use a web browser inside of the virtual machine or not. And the CPU is also the number of vCPUs you can turn to, I don't know, 2. Okay, it starts and starts the xorg server and starts like light DM, but I never ever log on using the Virt Manager virtualization software. If I want to connect to the FreeBSD machine using a command line connection, I'm going to use an SSH client. Okay. If I want to connect using graphical user interface, I'm going to use this long command line, which says xfreerdp, which is the client for the RDP protocol for my host machine, which is Linux. And then /u, the username, then the geometry that I want, then the IPv4 address of the machine, of the FreeBSD virtual machine. And then I want all of the goodies possible, which means speed and sound. And then I say I also want to resize the, to change the resolution by resizing the window if I somehow feel uncomfortable with the default geometry, window size, width and height. And then also for the best image quality possible, 32 bits per pixel. Okay, so I copy this command line, Ctrl-Shift-V, or Ctrl-Shift-V, enter. Okay. This is similar to a desktop manager, so it allows you to connect, giving it a user and a password. And then that's it. It knows that it should start XFCE. It starts it correctly with a session and panel and everything. Everything works correctly in XFCE. I'm not sure what it tried to do in here. I have installed a web browser. YouTube works correctly with sound and the image is not choppy at all. Okay, so that was everything from me. I say, does not matter if you install FreeBSD on the virtualization softwares that are available, so on Virt, Virt Manager, QEMU, KVM, or on VirtualBox, or on other virtualization solutions, Hyper-V from Microsoft. I know what other things exist, VMware. Does not really matter what virtualization software you use. You'll always have problems with making the sound work, making the screen resize work, making the screen resolution work, making the monitor hardware work, making the CPU hardware work, making the mouse hardware work, making the fact that the mouse is grabbed by the virtualization software or not work, making copy-paste work. So all of these things require different additional steps depending on the virtualization software. And I skip over all of these, so I don't care about FreeBSD support. I don't care about the virtualization software support. I just go straight for xrdp. And with xrdp, I have everything I need. I don't need to install additional FreeBSD modules which are out of mainline or something like that. So I don't need to taint my kernel, you know. I don't need to do arcane configuration configurations. So the only arcane configuration was to create a file, put a line in it, and make it executable. And then I have created the command line for connecting using the xfreerdp client by looking at the help of the xfreerdp executable. But you're going to use different clients, as it says in here, in where are you? In Windows, you're going to use the default Windows Remote Desktop application, or there's RDC-man Remote Desktop Connection Manager. On macOS, there's a Remote Desktop for Mac. On Linux, there's this GUI frontend for xfreerdp, which is called Remina. Okay. Do prefer xrdp instead of fighting FreeBSD and fighting the virtualization software to make all of the niceties work. So again, using this combination xrdp server, I have screen resize working. I have correct mouse pointers, not duplicated ones, inside of the virtual machine. The speed is really great. Everything works as expected. Copy paste works. Create document, empty template, new file, create, double click on it. Oh, it doesn't have a text editor. Okay. Copy, paste, works. Both directions. I couldn't ask for more when connecting to a virtual machine. The virtual machine has stayed as uncluttered as possible. I did only these changes to the virtual machine. I didn't edit any configuration file. I didn't fight font config settings, TTI settings, VTI settings, hardware settings, nothing. Xorg configurations, nothing. I just did these things in package install xordp, making start at boot, and then create a file in my home directory and make it executable. That's it. So please prefer xrdp instead of fighting to configure the FreeBSD virtual machine. Thank you.